Something big is happening right now that could add to a very potential bottom that we're going to be seeing here for crypto. And of course, Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the driver of this crypto markets. So this is why we talk about Bitcoin first things first. And what I'm talking about is this. Okay, if you guys have been watching my channel at all recently, you guys know that I keep track of the CME watch tool. Okay, this is basically the tool that tells you the probability of a rate cut that is coming. This one is for December, and if you guys actually saw my video yesterday when we talked about this tool yesterday, we saw a probability of an ease that was just under 40%. However, if we actually take a look into the probability now, we're looking at a probability of an ease over 70% now. So what has really changed? Okay, we're going to be talking about that later when I react to the news headlines with you guys, as well as replying to a few viewer comments. Okay, now this is Bitcoin. Okay, there are a few bottoming signals that I want to be telling you guys about. One of which is that Bitcoin has hit the price target, the breakdown target of this huge rising wedge pattern. It broke down a few weeks ago, and it just completely went towards that price target a lot quicker than I would expect, to be honest. Okay, I would have expected a few more bounces, especially within the zone, but that did not happen. It just crashed that price target. Okay, so that is one bottoming signal. At least I think we're at least gonna get a pretty good bounce from here. Okay, it doesn't have to be a bounce that takes us to higher highs. That is yet to be seen. Okay, but we could get a pretty good bounce from here, especially after Bitcoin has broken below the weekly 50 SMA. I usually at least see when you break below support or resistance, price action goes back to retest it. And the weekly 50 SMA is currently at about 103,000 almost. The next one is going to be the next reason why I do think this is a very potential bottom is that Bitcoin is currently at the monthly 21 SMA, which has not hit it during this entire trend since it broke above it back in October 2023. And when you hit a support for the first time, I could usually expect it to be pretty good support, okay? Meaning we can expect the probability of a good bounce from here is pretty high. To illustrate this, let's take a look into the last time Bitcoin has actually come down to the monthly 21 SMA as support. That was in the height of the last bear market, okay, back in January 2022 to April of 2022. So basically, this moving average has held the price action up for 4 months during a bear market. Now, do I think we're in a bear market? I still don't think so. I still think we're in a bull market. So this is also why I think this is a very potential bottom for Bitcoin. Of course, I'm just talking about probabilities here. Nothing in this market is 100%. And if I change my opinions, I'll let you guys know. But this is what it seems like right now. We're also going to be taking a look into a few altcoin setups, which would include Arweave, and then we're also going to be taking a look into ZBCN, which is Zebec network, as well as Keeta KTA, and see what's happening in these altcoin markets. Has anything changed with their trading patterns, price targets, and anything else important? Alright, so first of all, let's take a look into some news. I'm going to give you guys my instant reaction to some news, and then I'm going to be replying to viewer comments. This is what I do every Wednesday and Saturday. So first piece of news here is by Coinpedia. Crypto eyes relief rally as December Fed rate cut odds surged to 71%. So it doesn't. So that was a big change from even just when when I did yesterday's video. Okay, because yesterday was about 30 to 40%, and now is above 70%. What has changed? There wasn't really. I have not really seen any solid reason on YouTube, right, or on the news that talks about this. So let's see what this says. This shift comes after the recent comments from New York Fed President John Williams, who signaled a near term rate cut is possible without threatening the Fed's inflation goals. Okay. Williams noted that he views the monetary policy as modestly restrictive and suggests that there is room to bring rates closer to a neutral stance. He also downplayed the impact of tariffs on inflation and expects price pressure to ease over time. Okay. So let's see here. According to a report from Reuters, Boston Fed President Susan Collins said that on Friday that she believes the current monetary policy is appropriate. So this, given the economy's resilience, she expressed hesitation about further rate cuts and described the current rate policy change as mildly restrictive and suitable for keeping some downward pressure on inflation. All right. And then, so I see a few highlights here, more highlights here that says keeping the rates on hold. Okay. Even though the Fed rate cut probability has significantly increased, I don't think I'm getting a solid reason on why that is in terms of new data coming out. But this news is suggesting that it's because of the New York Fed President John Williams signaling a near-term rate cut. But you see, there are other Fed presidents who are also signaling a hold. So could this be the real reason, or did something else happen? What do you guys think? Let's take a look into the next piece here, which is by Cointelegraph. Spot Bitcoin ETFs pull $238 million as Ether funds snap 8-day outflow streak. Okay, so it seems like money is going back into the ETFs. Could this be a bounce signal? Okay, if you guys want to read more into this news, you guys can. It is in TradingView. I do have a affiliate link in the video description section below. I highly recommend TradingView if you guys want to be trading in the long term. I have been using it for the last 6 years now, throughout my entire time here trading crypto. Next one is by You Today. Saylor's strategy hints at new Bitcoin buys despite delisting concerns. So we talked about this yesterday. Michael Saylor's strategy risk being delisted, but he continues buying Bitcoin. He's hinting at buying new Bitcoin anyways. All right, if you guys want to read more about this, it's also in TradingView. Let's go ahead and take a look into some viewer comments. Okay. Every Wednesday and Saturday, I do respond to viewer comments. So if you guys have comments, I do read them. I will respond to them. First one says, still long on Anchor? No, I have not been long on Anchor this cycle. Okay, so if I am long on a specific altcoin, I will tell you at the beginning, in the video. But I am long on quite a bit of the altcoins here and on crypto in general. Okay. It could be something that I will trade once I get some more dry powder and if I see a good setup, but I am not long on Anchor right now. Next one is it says crash and burn on the Onyx coin, XCN. I think XCN is actually pumping today, actually trying to break out of that falling wedge pattern, that smaller falling wedge pattern, and trying to keep that bigger falling wedge pattern intact. Next one, I think these are spam comments. It says, never seen a project get so many partnerships with big retailers as Corden. I don't know what Corden is. Is that a new coin? I've been seeing a lot of spam comments. I'm not sure if this is it or if this is a real comment. Next one, it says really. I don't know what he's really responding to. Next one, it says great opportunity to stack up on ETH and GRT. 2 or 3 ETH, a nice bag of GRT to add to the supply. Yeah, I mean, I really do think that crypto is about to turn around. It's usually after those very scary moments that you're gonna see a turnaround. Okay, we'll see how far this turnaround goes, and I will keep updating you guys as I have been for the last 6-7 months, right? And I'm gonna be sticking around here every day, right? And the next one, it says Zora is it's a pretty cool concept. I'm not really sure what Zora the concept behind Zora is. I'm just telling you guys what I'm seeing on the charts, and that's what I'm here to do. You guys might know more about any of these specific coins than I do, because I'm not a fundamentals guy. You know, if anything, I talk about the macro stuff, and of course, much more specifically, technical analysis. Let's come over here and go to altcoin setups. We're going to be talking about ZBCN first, which is Zebec network, and see what's happening with Zebec network. So I have invalidated a few charts here on ZBCN because the charts have been invalidated, or their previous charts, their price targets have been met. So what I'm seeing here is daily time frame. Okay, daily time frame, falling wedge pattern, huge falling wedge pattern. And falling wedges have a higher chance of breaking to the upside. This one here, if it breaks to the upside by this point, for example, price target would be about 0.9 cents price target. Okay. Now, even though these technical analysis patterns have a higher chance of breaking to one direction, you also have to mind the lower chance that they could break in another direction. Like I said, we're all just talking about probabilities here, okay? Now, and these price targets are estimates only. There could be more, there could be less. In the case of these altcoins, a lot of which does depend on what happens with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin has more room to pump, that is going to be good for a lot of these altcoins. However, if Bitcoin dumps, that could invalidate a lot of these altcoin setups. So this is why I talk about Bitcoin first things first. I never trade altcoins without a clear understanding of Bitcoin. Okay. Now, I am long, like I said, I am long on quite a bit of the altcoins here. Not Zebec network right now, but my outlook on the crypto markets in general is bullish. However, these are just my opinions and what I'm doing personally, not financial advice. You guys gotta form your own opinions and strategies. Let's go ahead and take a look into Arweave and see what's happening with this coin here. This is going to be a very interesting setup for Arweave. Now, I'll let you guys know why. This is a falling wedge pattern I talked about for quite some time. It broke out of it back in July when things were looking a lot better. Price targets, it's about $39. Breakout, still valid because the price action is still above this upward trend line. I talked about a potential cup and handle scenario here. If Arweave can come back up here to retest about that almost $9 level, that is still a potential scenario here. However, there is also another setup depending on how tomorrow's weekly candle closes. What I'm talking about is this. This is a potential double bottom scenario. You have at about $3.60 with very likely bullish divergence. Okay, you just gotta see how this weekly candle ends up. Okay, let's take a look into a smaller time frame and see if I can get any more clarity on what this price action could be doing. Now, this was a falling wedge that basically got invalidated because it broke to the downside against its probabilities. This is a falling wedge. So what happens? We chart it. Okay. And this is a falling wedge here that has a higher chance of breaking to the upside. This one here, if it breaks to the upside by this point, for example, price target would be about $5 and almost $5.65 for Arweave. Let's come over here to Keeta, which is KTA, and see what's happening with this coin here. I talked about on the weekly time frame. This is the weekly time frame for Keeta. And it has been running within this falling wedge pattern. Price target, if it breaks out by this point, for example, price target would be about $1 and just right above $1.55 there. It is running within a smaller falling wedge pattern. If we zoom in, this is the daily time frame and running within the falling wedge pattern. And let's just say if it breaks out by this point, this is the daily time frame. By tomorrow, let's just say, for example, price target is going to be about above 65 cents. So let's see if Keeta can actually meet the smaller price target, potentially breaking out the bigger falling wedge and meet the bigger price targets. If not, there could be more downside, right? So this is basically what I'm seeing for ZBCN, Arweave, and Keeta. Let me know if you guys want to continue seeing any more of these coins or any other coins in this market by dropping a like, comment, subscribe. I'll pick a request to you for you guys on a daily basis, and I'll see you on the next one.